What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, shout out to the brother Giovanni Giles for the $5 donation via the PayPal. And he had an observation and a theory. And he wanted me to do a video about it, I guess, from my perspective, right? So he says that he believes that a lot of these guys are faking the calf strain injury because they're using it as a cover-up from what happened to Tatum, Halliburton, Dame, and Kevin Durant. So he's basically saying that he thinks that a lot of these guys, when they do suffer a calf strain, basically they're exaggerating the severity of it out of caution because of the excessive lower leg and Achilles injuries that we've seen over the past several years. And we have seen a lot of them. And I'm going to tell you something. I definitely believe that the organizations are protecting the highest paid players when it comes to overreaction to injuries. I definitely agree with that. I definitely believe that. Because if you look at it over the past several years, the players who are always missing the most games are almost always the players who are making the most money on every team. And they're not always the players that play the most minutes. You know what I'm saying? But it's always seemed like it's the star players who miss the most games. And it makes sense because with each organization, the star player is the biggest investment. So you're going to protect your investment by trying to preserve it as long as possible. Because we've seen so many players come out there. I'm talking from a business perspective, not a fan perspective. From a business perspective, and this is, they don't really care shit about the fans. They will try to sit a player as much as possible because they put so much money into these players. Now, don't get me wrong. They want these guys to sit there and play. But, you know what I'm saying? In today's atmosphere, a player doesn't have to play 75, 72 games to keep their market value. A player can now play 55, 60 games and still have a high market value because load management has become normalized. So something that fans probably would have tolerated 20, 25 years ago, they tolerate today because it's just been normalized. Now, about the players consciously going out there and sitting some games out of fear of suffering a catastrophic injury that could end their career or put their careers in jeopardy and lower their market value eventually, right? I would like to think that they don't do that, but these guys are human at the same time. And like you said, you do make a good point. Over the last several years, we've seen Achilles ruptures. Over the last year, just alone, the last season, we saw Achilles rupture to Dame Lillard. We saw an Achilles rupture with Jason Tatum. and with Tyrese Halliburton. Kevin Durant several years ago. Many other, uh, lower tier players and role players that have suffered ACL and Achilles injuries. So, to be honest with you, there probably are some guys who are doing that. And one of them is the guy you see on your screen. If I suspect anybody doing it, I don't put anything past Kawhi Leonard. Absolutely, I don't put anything past Kawhi Leonard. I'm not trying to demonize him, but yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. A lot of these dudes are scamming the system. They're trying to play as long as possible with fewest games, playing fewest games as possible. And then when it comes to those contractual years, that's the year they grind it out. That's the year they go out and play 70, 72, 74 games, whatever it is now that's considered normal or considered high effort. And then once they secure an extension of the bag, that's when they go right back to playing 50-some games. But yeah, that's an interesting theory you have there, man. And, someone might even say that, man, we've become real cynical thinking this type of stuff about players. But, I mean, do the players really say they give a shit about us? What's the point of protecting these dudes? And they give so little effort when it comes to going out there on the basketball court as far as attempting to play. Especially, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, man. Look, injuries are a part of sports. Players are going to get hurt. Players are going to miss games. I don't want to make it seem like everybody's going to play 82 games every year. That's not the case. But it has become epidemic. And they're trying to make excuses. Oh, the pace and the amount of floor space they cover now because of the three-point line. Man, let me tell you something, man. I'm not seeing a whole bunch of, for the most part, I'm not seeing a whole bunch of activity out there with most teams on the defensive end. You got the Thunder and you got, maybe the Rockets to a certain extent. But, the Pistons, obviously, but most of these damn teams, they're not really all that fucking active on the defensive end. Rip Hamilton, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, those guys were, yeah, you could say it was half court, but don't act like every team played low scoring, grinded out Miami Heat, Detroit Pistons 2000s basketball. Those teams that played a faster pace. And the fastest pace of all time was the 1960s. And these guys weren't going out there and getting hurt at a record pace. So, it could be something to your theory, bro. I wouldn't put it past it, man. That, these guys are going to be protecting themselves. They got a lot of money on the line. So I wouldn't put it past it at all that they're doing that. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.